Hello, thank you for clicking on today's video. I got asked a lot to do a stats video from my college decision reaction. So I'm actually going to the University of Michigan in the fall. I will be attending Ross, which is Michigan's business school. So this is going to be like mostly centered around Michigan and how I got into Michigan, but it's going to be like an overall stats video because I got lots of questions about like my stats, extracurriculars, etc. Pretty much just how I got into the schools I did. Obviously, if you take the same courses, you're not guaranteed to like get into these schools. These are just like the courses I took. So I took 6 honors classes and 8 AP classes. So sophomore year, I took AP psychology. I got a 4. I'm really bad at like test taking and I have like testing anxiety. So like my test scores weren't good. I think I only sent in AP psychology to like all my schools. So I got a 4 on that. And then junior year, which is like when COVID started, so our tests were online, like really weird. I took AP chemistry and AP US history, and I got a 3 on both of those, which I was very upset by because I thought I did so much better, but whatever, I still passed. And then right now, senior year, I'm taking AP Government and AP Econ, which are 2 separate AP classes, but at my school, they do it by semester. So it's like 1 year combined, if that makes sense. I'm taking AP Statistics. AP Physics, I would not recommend. I hate physics, but if you're into that, take it. I just would not recommend. And I'm also in AP language. I know AP language and composition. I know at some schools you can take AP language junior year. They started that they started it this year, so the year after I was a junior. So that's why I'm taking AP Lang now. So it's kind of like a junior course, but I'm a senior. Okay, next are my stats. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think my stats got me into college because my stats are not that good. And also you have to keep in mind, like with COVID and stuff, there's a lot of like test optional stuff like that. So I didn't send in my test scores. I did to my safety school. So I sent my test scores into like the schools where I was like in the middle range or like higher than their average test scores. I took the SAT. So I submitted mine to, Clemson, Fordham, University of Denver, and then I accidentally sent it to University of Richmond, which is not in the range. Somehow I still got in. I'm just gonna expose myself. I got a 1290, which is like what people get on like their first like test before they even study for the SAT. So that's embarrassing for me. So that is why I did not send it in anywhere, because I would not be going here if I sent in my test score. Let's just be honest. My GPA, I don't know what like scale it's on, but unweighted, I had a 3.7, which is like fine. It's not like exceptional or anything. And I just want to say that I'm not like a straight A student. Like I feel like people think like if you get into like top schools or something, you're like a straight A student. Like I think I had like 10 Bs or something. Like I was an A and B student, but I think I had like 10 Bs. Granted, they were like all in honors AP classes, but I'm not like a perfect student. But my weighted GPA was a 4.4. I know there's like numbers after that, but I think that's just like what I put on my application. Also, we don't do class rank at my school. My school has, well, at least my class has 583 kids, I want to say, in my class. If I had to guess, I'd probably be like in the 200s. Maybe that's just me being mean to myself, but I'm definitely not like in the top, like, 5%. Probably not even close to that. Okay, now on to extracurriculars. I think my extracurriculars got me into college, if I'm being honest, especially in this year, like with this, COVID and stuff. I feel like schools weren't like super heavy on stats, but I could be wrong. I think my extracurriculars helped because they're like a little more unique. So my first extracurricular is this like nonprofit organization thing I came up with. I'm not really sure if you could call it a nonprofit organization, but I'll just tell you what I did. So there is this house. I'm not going to say the name because it'll expose like where I live, but it's this house for like underprivileged children. It's pretty much like an after school program. So it's like a really small fee that these parents have to pay to have their kids, have people help them with their homework, have them fed, they do sports and stuff. It's pretty much like an after school program for underprivileged children. And so I started this organization, like donation thing. So every month I bake them like cupcakes or cake. I had to stop doing that because of COVID. But I would do that every single month for all the kids there. And then also part of this program, which I listed as another extracurricular, I did cooking classes in the summer. So they had a summer enrichment program. And one of the things the kids could sign up for was a cooking class. So I would teach cooking classes for these kids. So those are probably like my two biggest activities, I would say. Okay, my third biggest activity is I had a food stand at a farmer's market. So I had like a small business, I guess you could say. I sold energy balls at this farmer's market near me. It was at this like local garden. I also volunteered there and helped them pick produce for their farmer's market. Next, I started a business club at my school. I was like the president and founder of the business club. So that kind of shows my interest in business since that's my major. Pretty much my business club, we just brought in like local businessmen and businesswomen, and they would talk about their jobs to help kids like kind of find a career, find a path, or like, you know, what major they want to do. It was called Breaking Down Business. So we pretty much took business and broke it down into like a ton of different career paths. Next activity is I am a writer for a local newspaper. I can't say the name of the newspaper, but I've had this food column in this newspaper, I want to say since I was like in 7th grade or something like that. I've been doing it for a really long time. I want to say it's been like 6 years or something like that. So along like the note of writing, I have my own blog, which is probably like something that's like more easy to do, I guess you could say. It's mainly a food blog. I have like recipes on there, travel, which the travel is like all about food. I have some like random poems I wrote. But yeah, I've been doing that for a while. I want to say since like middle school as well. Another thing I did related to business is between junior and senior year, I had a marketing internship at like a local golf club. So I worked like in social media marketing. Oh, I was also on the tennis team for 4 years. I feel like this is something a lot of people say don't put, but I put my TikTok account. I have a food TikTok account and it has like 36,000 followers or something. I'll get more into that, but yes, I did put that. I feel like it's just such a lame extracurricular, but whatever. Last extracurricular activity are honor society. So at my school, I was in science honor society for 1 year. I got kicked out this year because I forgot to reapply. I'm so embarrassed about that. I've been in French Honor Society for 2 years, and I've been in English National Honor Society for 1 year. So those are kind of like awards / honors. Okay, next, moving into essays, I'm first going to talk about like, you know, the personal statement, you know, your Common App essay, and then I'll go like more into like the supplemental essays for Michigan, because I'm sure people are like curious of how I got into Michigan. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just, you know, okay, whatever. Okay, so for my personal statement, I wrote about food because you could probably tell I'm like very into like cooking, baking, that kind of stuff. So I'm not, like, my essay's really not like anything special. I'm just gonna be honest. I started out with me in the middle of cooking. I was on Chop Junior when I was in 6th grade. I was like 11 or 12. So I started off with that, like me in the middle of like cooking on that show. And then I kind of talk about Chop Junior, and then I go into like what cooking means to me and like how it's changed my life. So it's like not a crazy idea or anything. Okay, now onto the Michigan essays. So I had to apply to LSA, the College of like Literature, Science and Arts first. So that was like my Michigan. I had 2 essays for LSA pretty much. And then if you want to be a business major and you want to be in Ross, you got to apply into Ross. So you apply LSA with preferred admission into Ross. And if you're doing that, you have to make a separate portfolio, which is 2 additional essays for Ross, the business school. So first I'll just talk about my LSA supplemental essays, and then I'll go into my Ross essays if anyone's like curious if you're applying. Okay, so I'm gonna put like the actual essay questions on the screen, but the first essay question, supplemental essay for Michigan LSA, was about communities. I wrote about Chick-fil-A, which kind of ties into my TikTok thing that I was talking about earlier. And also, if you watch my last video, this is the essay that I think got me rejected from all the religious schools. So yeah, anyway, if you follow me on TikTok, you already know this, but pretty much Chick-fil-A had like donated to like anti-LGBTQ plus groups and things like that. Like there's been many times where they just showed like their dislike for the community, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure they've since stopped doing that. Could be wrong. I just don't care to like affiliate myself with Chick-fil-A, support them, whatever. I like since they just did in the past, I'm like, I don't care about you guys anymore. And they're also like a very religious company. Obviously they're closed on Sundays and stuff, so I think that's maybe why I got rejected from the religious schools, or I just wasn't good enough to get in. But it's just funny, I got rejected from like all the religious schools, and I don't know why I applied to so many. Like I'm not even religious. So yeah, so I pretty much figured out like what Chick-fil-A was doing. I didn't like it. And so I started a TikTok food account like last summer, I want to say, and I was just like posting like recipes and stuff like that. And I really wanted to make Chick-fil-A sauce because I didn't want to support the company, but I really wanted the sauce because Chick-fil-A sauce is really good. And so I made a video about making the Chick-fil-A sauce, and I just like titled it something like making Chick-fil-A sauce because I'm not supporting a company that's like against the LGBTQ plus community or something like that. And so I continued to make these videos because they were kind of like picking up in views, and then I ended up getting like over 1 million views on a few of them. So that's pretty much what I wrote my essay about, and like how I started a community on TikTok was like advocating for like LGBTQ plus rights, I guess, in a sense, or just like spreading awareness about like what the company was doing. So that was actually like my favorite supplemental essay I wrote. Guess a lot of colleges do not agree, but that's fine. Thank you, Michigan. The second essay is just like a why Michigan one. I'm pretty sure I just talked about like my major and like how they offer, you know, certain courses, like what courses I would take. Talked about certain clubs and just like programs they had, and then I kind of just related it to like things I've done that would like show them why I would be interested in joining these things and like how I would help these programs or what I would gain from what they offer. So now I'm going to talk about the Ross portfolio, which are 2 additional supplemental essays. Just love being a business major, paid off in the end, but it was a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. The first essay was about an issue in your community and like the business implications behind it. So this one I kind of tied into my extracurricular activity of having a food stand at the farmer's market. So I started out with like me making the energy balls and then selling them. So that was kind of like my business implication side, like my small business. And then I talked about the garden and what the garden has taught me, and then how I would take what I learned at the garden and use that on a bigger scale. And then the last one, which is like, I think it was like a really short essay. It was a document or artifact that shows your learning in action. So in the area that I live in, there's this magazine, and every year they do this feature or segment, I guess you could say. It used to be called 19 Under 19, but the year I got in is 20 Under 20. So you have to get nominated, and then they choose 20 kids under the age of 20 who are making a change in the area that I live in. And so I got selected last year in 2020, and I was featured in the magazine mostly for like my cooking. They didn't really talk about like my business. So I wrote about that because you had to attach like a website or like upload a photo or something. So I just attached the URL to the page that I was featured on. Obviously, if you have like similar stats, extracurriculars, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get into like the same schools as me. I just hope this like help someone, I guess, maybe like know what Michigan is looking for. I don't know if this helps at all, but I just got like requests to do it, so I just thought I would do it. But yeah, I hope this helps someone, and thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.